Hello everybody, it's James. We're back at it. We're going to have a quick video today. Since I've been posting these updates and not really doing a whole lot of work, I figure let's experiment with actually recording, doing a little bit of work. So we're starting on the passenger side floor well, and you can see here, got a bunch of it out. This has got a lot of patching, but unfortunately let me grab my light. Before we patch that up, we have a bigger problem we're going to fix. Yeah, we're missing a whole lot of frame rail on this side. So half of it, about a foot section, is really rusted out. So we're cutting it all out and we're fixing it today. You can see half of my patch panel there. Other half is up on the bench. Probably not going to do any videos on that, but if you want, go follow me over on my Instagram. I'll be posting pictures of it. Actually, it's probably one of the best ways if you want to keep track of what's going on with the project. Just go follow me over there. I've been posting a lot of pictures as we go. So we got these little holes. You see that hole right there? I thought that might be like some type of factory hole. So actually on the other side, I left it. And the more I look at it, I think those were holes for like the submarine belts on a, I think that's what they call it. It's the crotch strap on your like 5-point harness. Because again, this thing used to be a race car. For real, it really did rally cars. So I think those were mounting points for the seat belt. So those need to be closed up. So let's get to work on closing up this little hole. I don't know if you can see here. I've been experimenting. Looks like somebody, like they were poking this with a screwdriver to check for rust, and they punched a bunch of holes. And actually, right here, I welded that up a few minutes ago. I was able to, this I can't get from underneath of it. This I was able to get from underneath, and with my professional dolly and my bodywork hammer here, my professional bodywork hammer, I was able to close that up to where it was just a little gap, and was actually able to close it up. And another thing I've been experimenting with, since my MIG here ran out of gas, I've been using this little Harbor Freight titanium flux core welder, and to be honest with you, it's not doing that bad. I think initially when I used this, it wasn't the welder that was the problem, it was me. I just hadn't had enough experience with welding to get it to work right. But I've done a few little pieces with it, and to be honest with you, it's perfectly viable for doing these floor pans. I don't think I'm going to use it for everything, but I'm experimenting with it. So we're going to experiment with this little hole and the little titanium flux core welder, and we're going to weld it up. So let me get my tripod and I'll see if I can get this set up to a way that you can actually see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can hear me and see me over there. I didn't bring my mic out here because I wasn't really planning on filming anything. So hopefully you can hear me. The camera's or phone is pretty close. So first thing we want to do is I want to kind of hammer this flat so I can actually get underneath of this with my very professional dolly. I have to grab this with the other hand. So what we did is just kind of flatten that out because it was a little pooched up. And this is this is a piece of a hydraulic cylinder. It is solid as hell. I've had this for years. One of my old neighbors used to rebuild hydraulic cylinders, and he cut this off and brought it to me one day. And this thing probably weighs 15 pounds. That's no joke. It is solid as can be. Makes good a makeshift dolly there. So we got the hole flattened out. It might make more sense to cut this a little bigger. I did grab a piece of small piece of scrap steel. I could try cutting out a little piece. It's going to be hard because it's such a small area. Cutting that with a grinder, it's kind of small. There's a couple different ways you can go about it, and what I've been doing in here, you could cut out a little square piece, hold it up underneath, and just tack around it and leave, overlap it from the bottom. We could cut out a small square piece here and overlap it from the top. We could try to cut a little small circle that fit exactly in there and tack it up. It's going to be a lot of heat in one little area. It's kind of rough in there. I think what we might do is we might cut this out. Try cutting this out just a little bit bigger, and then using our little template here, make a little bit bigger square, so all of our heat isn't concentrated in such a small spot. Let me get the grinder with the cutoff wheel, and I'll be right back. All right, so we got I just grabbed the cordless. Lucky my son thinks he needs to have all these tools for his job, so he's got a bunch of his Milwaukee tools, and I just borrow them, because he doesn't ever use. Second thing, face shield. I should have my gloves on, but I think this little spot, if you're doing a lot of grinding, a lot of cutting, definitely wear gloves, some leather gloves. Definitely this face mask. This is just a cheap little face mask from Harbor Freight. Keeps all the sparks out of your eyes, so that would be the best way to cut this. So let's get this cut out, and we'll just cut the cutting part out or fast forward through it, something, because it's going to be loud, so hang on. Alright, so we got a little square cut out. I had to get the two side pieces from the bottom because I couldn't get the angle grind in there because of this piece here. And you'll run into that at times, so just come up with ways that you can get to it. So let me just clean this hole up a little bit. I'll be right back. All right, so we got the hole cleaned up. You want to have a nice, good surface to weld to. I think what we're going to do, let's just try to butt weld this in here. So I'm going to hold this piece of metal I have up underneath here, as close as I can. Let's mark it out. So just using just a Sharpie down from the top, we're going to cut it a little big. So we're going to cut on the outsides of these lines to make it a little bigger, because you want about a razor blade width gap all the way around it. If you get, from everything I've learned, because I've watched a lot of videos where they're doing patches like this, and they get like an exact gap. Now the exact gap's more for like a TIG weld, but for a MIG you want to leave just a little bit of space for the weld pool to be able to penetrate all the way through. So I'm going to get over to the bench and we'll cut this out, and we'll get the camera, and once we get this all fitted up, we'll bring you over here and show you what it looks like. Alright, so we've got our little piece here. Ground out pretty good. It's close enough. It's flush and flat. I'm going to clean it up just, well, I don't know, it was pretty clean on top. I just got some Sharpie marker. I think that'll weld. So we're just going to put a couple of tacks on it to hold it in place, and we'll be right back. Oh, little flux core, I was bragging on you so much, and now you're just kind of crapping on me real bad. So in interest of being full disclosure of how doing stuff like this goes, so here's our first couple of attempts at tacking this stuff, and it is not pretty at all. A couple of the tacks held really good, but I'm getting a lot of blowout down here towards the bottom. I think it's just because the metal that on the car is so thin that it's kind of blowing it out. So this looks real nasty, real ugly, and I just want to show it because this is how a lot of these things go. So I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to finish welding it up because I just from kind of my experience, I know what I need to do to get this all fixed up. I'm going to grind it down and sand it, and then show you the finish result. Just knowing that this is what we're starting with. It's not looking pretty, but it's not so much the process, it's kind of the end result, right? All right, I think so. Anyway, I'll jump back here in a minute when we're done with this, seeing if we can clean this little ugly little turd of a spot up. So back in just a minute. All right, one last time before we grind this out, I want to show you these beautiful flux core beads. I mean, just look at that. It's like someone just stacked dimes all the way around it. No, it's a bunch of boogers and a bunch of hole chasing. But again, I'm just learning how to weld, getting better with this little flux core. Now, if this was like a structural piece or something that was holding a Ferris wheel together, I'd be concerned. This is a little bitty hole in the floor pan under the carpet of a car that nobody is ever going to see, so it does not need to be perfect. But I think the final results are going to surprise you. So let me get this ground down and kind of finished, and we'll be back again for one final time, and we'll wrap this up. Look at that. Focus. Tasty, isn't it? All right, time for the final reveal. And what does it look like? What? Where? Smooth. See how those booger welds grinded up just fine. It's actually, if you feel it, I mean, that feels pretty good. And especially, it's going to look good. Hold on. That's going to look really good. Under the paint and then under the carpet. So don't have to chase perfection here when you're doing these floors. I probably spend a little bit more time on it than I normally would, grinding it down just to kind of get it to look, look nice for the boys, For you boys out there watching. Maybe the one girl. Maybe. Anyway, flux core welder, patching up a hole. It's doable, just takes a little bit of patience. Just takes a little bit of patience. I probably wouldn't go for this type of patch on a floor like this with a flux core. I would just lap weld it. A lot more metal, a lot more heat to disperse. You're not going to get so many blowouts. But it's doable. Hopefully this gives you a little inspiration to get out there in your garage and get working on your project. So that's it for this one. Let me know down in the comments if you like this type of video. We'll try to put more of them out. So that's it for me. You guys have a good one. I'm going to start working on this. See you later.